So welcome to the video about the Keith count. This one includes already the answers to the questions from the previous one and some discussion in order to better assimilate the formula. Let's share the screen and get started. So here we have the formula first, the formula on the left side. Then we know that when we have the positions, we're going to be adding pips for too many checkers on the 1, 2, and 3 points, for empty spaces on 4, 5, and 6 during pair off, not so much during the races, the contactless races and the pair in. And we are going to count to increase the count of the player on roll by a seventh. And we see the points for doubling, redoubling, and taking. The doubler needs to be ahead in order to double, but by no more than 4, no more than 3 to redouble. And the opponent can take if the doublers is at least 2 ahead of the taker. Otherwise, it should be passing. Let's see how you did in the 14 exercise positions. We start from the first one. We see the equity. This is double and pass, a very narrow pass. Now, how did this adjustment go? We started with 104 versus 116, a very simple race. We noticed, by the way, that the opponent had an extra space there, so we could add point there and reach 117. Normally, we wouldn't. Normally, we would reach 116, which you might have likely reached, 118, 116. That would be the last point of take. And if somebody took based on this calculation, it wouldn't be very wrong. It's only a 0.016 mistake to take. However, the formula here is a very little bit off. It should be a double and pass. The formula actually would tell us to add an extra pip here because of the space. Normally, we really wouldn't, because obviously this space is likely to be filled in. But this is one of these cases that are kind of borderline. Let's go to the second position. Second position, this is already a pair in. Here the computer gives us a very, very close take. And okay, if we make the calculation here, we're going to also be adding a point for an extra space here and reach 93. But we're going to, more importantly, penalize the opponent here by 4 pips because of 2 extra checkers on the ace, and an extra pip because of an extra checker on the deuce. So that's already 97, maybe 98 because of this one. Our position has absolutely no penalties. So after we added the 7th of 86, that was an extra 12 pips, that was 98. So it should be 98, 98 or 98, 97. The formula again would tell us to pass this. Turns out it's actually a take, but by a very, very small margin. Hardly a mistake at all to pass. So the formula is close enough, not quite there. We cannot go very wrong here, either taking or passing. Most important is that we did the formula correctly. And we go to the third one. Here the row pip count would be 44 for us. We add an extra pip here because of the extra checker, that's 45. We add a 7th, that would be 51. And the opponent has 42, but we add 3 pips here, 2 for this checker, 2 for this checker, that's 45. An extra pip here for the gap, and we reach 46. 51, 46, that's not quite a double because we passed the opponent by 5. If we passed it by 4, that would still be a double. We see that we are close, but we shouldn't be doubling this. Here the formula gives us a very, very good answer. Position 4. This is again a contactless race. We start from 102. We don't have any adjustment for ourselves. We just add the 7th, that's 14 extra pips. So bringing us to 116. The opponent stays at 110, so we are 6 above. There are no adjustments. 6 above, that's a no double, and we see that's quite close one for no redouble. Maybe if the cube was in the center, it would tell us to double already. Let's test this real quick. This is something interesting that we are going to find in this answers video. We have quite a number of these long races in which we pass the opponent by 6 or by 7, and it tells us no redouble, but it's really close. Yes, it says here double, even though we pass by 6. According to the formula, we should be doubling only when we pass by 4. So maybe the conclusion is that when the race is very, very long, like over 100 pips, we should be doubling or redoubling a pip or 2 earlier, despite the formula, because we are going to have more positions like that, and we are going to see that it's closer than the formula would indicate. In any case, it was no redouble, but the position, the computer gives us double and take. So probably we still need to double. The race is simply long enough. So adding 1/7 might be a little bit too much. Let's go to position 5. Position 5, that's already one of these positions that are very short pair off. Normally, if it was even shorter than this, the formula wouldn't work, but here it still does. We add an extra peak for a checker on the 2, reaching 15. We add 3 extra peaks for 3 spaces. This gives us already a bit of wastage because obviously whenever we roll a 6, a 5, or a 4, we will waste pips. The formula takes it into account. So that's 14 plus 4, 1 pip here, 3 pips here. That would be 18. 18 for us plus a 7th, that would be 20. The opponent has 15, but we add 2 points for this extra checker. That would be 17. And we add an extra pip for a space on the 6. That would be 18. We lead by 2, 20, 18. So that would be a redouble and take. Very, very correct. We go to position 6. Position 6, again, is a contactless race. We don't have adjustments for ourselves. There is this maybe pip to add for a space on the 4, but it's very likely to be filled in. I'm not going to bother to add it. So I stay on 95. 95 plus 13, that would be a 7th, rounded down, 108. The opponent has 102, that's 6 up. 6 up is a very clear no redouble, but we actually see that we are quite close to redoubling. What happens if the cube is in the center? Does it become a double already at plus 6? We let the computer calculate for a moment. And apparently it is already a double. Again, a longer race. We should be doubling a couple of pips earlier than the formula tells us. We lead by 6. According to the formula, we should only double if we lead by 4. But the race is long enough, so probably adding a 7th was a little bit too much. This is still a double. Very instructive. This was position 6, I think, right? Let's go to position 7. And here in position 7, we are again in a pair-off situation. Notice that we have only 9 checkers on the board. We took off 6. The opponent has 10. In pretty much every other formula, we would be compensating for this. If we try to compensate for this, we get the formula wrong. That's quite interesting. If we don't compensate for it, we get the formula right. See here, it says double and take. Let's see what the adjustments give us. 34 pips plus 2 extra pips for 2 extra checkers on the 2. That's 36. Plus an extra checker, sorry, an extra pip for the gap on the 5, the empty space on the 5. That's 37. Plus a 7th, that would be 5 extra pip for a total count of 42. The opponent only has 38, but we add 1 here because of the empty space, so that's 39. So we are above by 3, not leading. We have 3 extra points over the opponent, 42 over 39, correctly double and take. If we try to compensate for having an extra checker outside, then the opponent would have 41 and he would need to pass, and that would be completely wrong. So in the Keith formula, we don't compensate for extra checkers. Try it, you're going to get the formula wrong, so not advised. Let's go to position 8. Position 8, a bear in. So we have a couple of minor adjustments here just for the extra checker on the deuce for ourselves and for the opponent. So we will have 67 instead of 66, plus 9, that's 76. The opponent has 74 instead of 73. 76 versus 74, we lead by 2, so that's still a redouble and take, just as we see here. I hope you got this right and you calculated correctly. Let's go to position number 9. Position 9, that's the next one. And that would be still something between a contactless race and a bear-in. Probably I should call it a bear-in, but these 2 checkers are a bit too far for my taste. I never saw a clear definition. I'm just kind of sharing the way I think about these positions. And let's see, adjustments. Do we have any adjustments? I don't see the adjustments here. By the way, some other formulas also adjust for crossovers. Here we need 2 crossovers to go into our inner board. This checker has to cross the bar. This checker also, that's 2 crossovers. And the opponent needs 5 crossovers to go in, because these 2 checkers need to cross both the midpoint, they cross into the opponent's outfield, and then they need to cross the bar point. So they have 4 crossovers to perform. That's significant in some formulas, and this one is a 5th crossover. In other formulas, you compensate by adding half a pip for each extra crossover. So here there would be a compensation of 1.5 pips, not happening because the Keith formula doesn't account for extra crossovers or for extra checkers born off. All right, so here there are no adjustments. 80 would become 91. We need to add 11 pips, 91. Opponent stays with 89, so we are plus 2. 91 over 89 plus 2. Double and take, redouble and take. Yeah, correct, works. Position 10. Position 10, that was also some kind of a contactless race. I don't see adjustments here. Do you see any? I didn't see any. 106, we need to add a 7th. That would be an extra 15. That's 121. That's the third time we see a long race. And the difference is quite big. We are not supposed to be anywhere near doubling. But look again at the equity. This is quite close to a redouble. If we put the cube in the center, it will be really, really close either way, which is completely not supposed to be. We are at plus 7. So again, we double a couple of pips earlier if the race is that long. This is a borderline double, no double. No, it has no business being that. This was maybe the longest race. So here we could even double 3 pips earlier and still be correct. So the longer the race, probably the earlier we should be doubling. And maybe also the later we should be passing. It makes sense. It's obvious because in the longer races, the opponent has more opportunities, more time to roll big doubles to catch up. So probably adding a 7th is a little bit too generous when we are that far ahead. So the entire formula should be adjusted. Everything should happen 2 or 3 pips apparently earlier, no? The doubling should happen either here or if we were leading by 1 pip less. And the opponent should not be so eager to pass because he has more chances. The leader received too much of a bonus by adding a 7th. Too much, compensated too much. Anyway, this was position 10. Let's go to position 11. Position 11 is already a bear-in with a lot of adjustments because of this crazy pile on the ace point. So we see here we have a very big lead in the race. We are leading by 15 pips. So this is actually much more than a 7th. This is 2/7 of a lead. So if it was just by a raw pip count, there would be no question about the double and pass. However, black is going to be wasting a lot of pips because of this tower on the ace point, while white is pretty well arranged. He has many checkers on the high points. Notice also the gaps in the black position. So here we see how this position is still takeable despite a huge racing lead. Again, on such a short race, 56 over 71, that's 15 pips. That's like over 20%, close to 30%, over a quarter, over 25% of a race lead. No way this could be a take unless the position had serious defects, which is what we see here. And the formula helps us compensate for these defects. This position, for example, makes it really, really clear why we need adjustments for a pip count. So let's do them. We add 8 extra pips for 4 extra checkers on the ace, a 9th pip for the extra checker on the 2, and 2 more pips indeed for these spaces. That's 11 extra pips, making the 56 become 67. 67 plus 9, we add a 7, that becomes 76. Now, interestingly, 76, I hope I didn't miscalculate something. 76, yes, I did miscalculate. I wasn't supposed to count the spaces because I'm still bearing in. So still 74. 74 over 71, that's 3 extra pips, very clear double and take. Probably we shouldn't be adding 4 spaces when we are still bearing in. That's a very clear demonstration of that as well, because if we did, we wouldn't be doubling. Let's go to position, this was 12, I think, right? This was 12. Yeah, no, this is 12. This is position 12. Again, we are inside the bear-off, and again, there is going to be some serious compensation against us because of this little tower on the ace point. Otherwise, the pip count is very much in our favor, 18 to 24. That's a huge lead, normally a pass, but not with this structure, not with so many checkers on the ace, because pips are going to be wasted. We are going to be rolling high numbers and only using a part of the roll, so we need to take that into account, which the formula does. 18, but we add 6 for 3 extra checkers on the deuce, a 7th point for an extra checker on the deuce. Yeah, so that's 7 extra. And we need to mind the gap, so that's 8 extra pips, 26. 26 plus a seventh, that becomes 29. And the opponent still suffers from two gaps, so that would be 27. I hope I'm not getting something wrong here. Let's try again. Wait a minute. No, two extra gaps, that's 26, not 27. The extra checker here is 27. 3 pips, yes? One for the extra checker, 2 for the gaps, 27. And we reached, how many? We reached 29, I think, no? 29. Yeah, we added here 7. That was 25, 27. Wait a minute. 24, 25. No, 26, 26, 29. 29, 27. 2 extra pips, double and take. That was correct. A good exercise in minding the gaps. Gap on the 5 counts, gaps on the 4 and the 6 count also. All right, let's check this one for a moment just to make sure. Race formulas. So yes, Keith formula, indeed, 2 extra, 29, 27. Finally, the calculation was right. There was a bit of confusion in the middle, too many elements, can happen to anybody. Let's go to the position before the last, number 13, and another pair off with a gap of the 6. So we are going to count it 42 plus 2 because of this checker, plus 2 because of these 2 babies, and plus 1 because of 1 checker more than 3 on the 3 point. That's 5 penalty points and a 6th one because of the gap. So we reach 48. The opponent is not penalized, but he started from 52. So, wait a minute, we didn't add a 7th, right? 48 plus a 7th, that would be 54. 54, 52, again plus 2, again redouble and take. Nothing to see here. I hope you got it right. And let's go to the last one. Last position, number 14, with 2 gaps. We started from 35. We added 4 extra pips here because of 2 extra checkers of the ace. 1 for an extra checker on the deuce, that's 5 pips. So we have 40, plus 1 here, that's 41 for the extra checker on the 3 point, plus 2 gaps, that would be 43. And this time we had a 7th, so we reach 49. The opponent had 39. However, he has too many checkers on the low points, so that becomes 41 and then 43. 43. It's already late at night when I'm recording this, and I completely forgot the count of the black one. So let's do it again. 5 extra points, 6 extra points, 8 extra points, that was 43, plus a 7th, that's 49. Here we had 43, 49, 43, we are 6 ahead. So normally we are not really even expected to double this, but apparently we do. It's a double and take. What's going on? Did I miss something? Let's see. Here it says 3. That's quite interesting. What am I missing? I added 5. I added 6. I added 8. That's 43. I added a 6th. That's 49, right? 49. Okay. I don't need to work so hard. It gives me the numbers. 49. Why is this 46? What am I missing? 46. Yeah, of course. I forgot to add 4 points for the ace point, not 2. That's the thing. So, yes, I should be adding 4 here and 3 here. That's 7 extra pips. So I reach 46. Now all is well. 49, 46. Good thing that we have extreme gammon to correct our mistakes. Double and take. The formula is actually quite good. So long as we remember that we can double 2 pips earlier, maybe, when the race is long. And so long as we remember to count the gaps, but not to count them if we are still bearing in or in a longer race, this formula will work very, very well. Here and there we might get a very, very small error, not very much. A very good practical tool. And I hope these 2 videos helped you master it to the best of success in your own contactless races and bear-offs. Signing off.